of lectures we have discussed about geometrical representation of vectors and vector addition using the triangle law. Okay, so we will continue with that and then move on to component algebra today, and of course we will discuss the key questions from the worksheet number 2 which I have sent you, or assignment 2 that I have sent earlier. So a couple of more things I wanted to discuss. First about triangle law. Okay. So we had seen the formula and the geometrical method of drawing the triangle. So if you have two vectors given like this, then to find their sum by the triangle law method, we have to draw them once again in such a way that we place them head on tail, or we draw the vectors consecutively. So after the first vector, right from the head of the first vector, we draw the second vector without changing anything else about it. Okay. And so we get the two consecutive sides of the vector triangle, where this angle theta is the angle between the initial two vectors a and b, and then the third side of the triangle, as you know, that becomes the resultant sum of the two vectors. Okay, and we calculate its magnitude and its direction by the particular formula we had seen. Okay. So this side becomes what is called the resultant sum a plus b, and we can denote this angle as alpha. So given the magnitudes of the vector A, the magnitude of the vector B and theta, we can find out the magnitude of the resultant, or A plus B vector's magnitude. We can find that out, and we can find out alpha. Okay, so that we already know. Now today we will discuss the situation where the angle between the two vectors becomes an obtuse angle. So in the formula, magnitude of A plus B is root of a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. Okay, and that tan alpha is b sin theta upon a plus b cos theta. But the important thing here is that the angle between the two vectors can be anything greater than 0, of course, but also up to 180 degrees, because you have all these kind of situations possible. If you imagine two vectors, what all possible angles there can be between them. So for example, we can have two vectors which are in this kind of situation, like this vector A and this vector B here. So the angle between them is 0. Okay, like that we can have a situation where A is like this and B is like this, so the angle is acute. We can have a situation like this where A is like this and B is like this, so the angle is exactly 90. But we can also have a situation where it's like this, A is like this and B is like this. So now you'll understand that the angle between them is obtuse, and in an extreme situation it could be like A is like this and the second vector B is like this, so it's 180 degrees. So the range of the angle between the two vectors can be anything between 0. Now here you can see that the angle between them is 0 because they are parallel vectors. Here you can see the angle between A and B is something less than 90. It's an acute angle. Okay, theta is acute here because theta is less than 90 degrees. In this particular case, you can see that theta is equal to 90 degrees. Okay. So they are perpendicular vectors because the angle is equal to 90 degrees. But now interestingly, in this case, you see what is happening. The angle between the two vectors won't be taken as the internal angle. It has to be taken as this, because from the direction of A, how much you are turning to go to the direction of B, you are turning by this angle, and this angle theta is now an obtuse angle. Okay, so these are all possible examples. Okay, so what happens when theta is an obtuse angle? It's greater than 90 or but less than 180. And of course, in this particular case, if A is this vector and B is this vector, then you can see the angle between them is 180 degrees. Theta is 180, and they are what we call anti-parallel vectors. They are in opposite directions. So how do we apply this formula for the sum of the two vectors, okay, when we have all these different cases? So of course you understand that cos 90 degrees is 0. Okay, so you have magnitude of A plus B will become root of A square plus B square when theta is equal to 90 degrees. And that you can visualize in this one very well. You can understand just from the diagram that when you complete the vector triangle for the case where the two vectors are perpendicular, you will get this right angle triangle. So obviously a plus b का magnitude क्या हो जाएगा? It will become the hypotenuse of this triangle. Okay. But now the question is, what do we do in this case? Okay, this other case which I am showing you here. अभी इसमें कैसे, how we will calculate the value of magnitude of a plus b? Okay. Or in this case, how we will calculate the value of magnitude of a plus b? So let's come to that. Okay. So next thing, for theta being greater than 90 and less than, we can also include 180. So we can include both these cases, the obtuse angle case and the exactly anti-parallel case. Okay, we use the trigonometric formula. You might have studied this in maths. Okay, it is part of the ASTC principle for trigonometric ratios in 4 quadrants. So we use that cos of 180 minus theta is equal to minus cos theta. Sine of 180 minus theta is positive of sine theta, whereas tan of 180 minus theta is minus tan theta. So these are the formulae that we use in the second quadrant, that is when theta is obtuse. Okay, so for example, cos 120 degrees according to this formula becomes minus cos 60, so it becomes minus half. Okay, sine of 135 degrees will become sine of 45 degrees, so it will be 1 by root 2. So we will understand very shortly when we do component algebra the logic of these formulae. But abhi ke liye what you do is you just remember them like maths formulae. Okay, that whenever theta is obtuse, that is it's this condition greater than 90 plus but less than 180, we have to use this set of formulae, these 3 formulae for the application of trigonometric, for the application of triangle law. Okay, hope you have understood this, people, and just make a note of these formulae first. So make a note of these formulae, and then when we apply it in some questions of triangle law application, then it will be easier for us to understand. Okay, so hope these formulae are clear to you. Have you seen these formulae in trigonometry in maths so far, people? You've you've seen the application of this kind of formula in trigonometry, right? Yes, good. So you're already a little bit familiar with it, no? But I will explain the logic of this formula from vector algebra method also, and then yeah, thanks people. Kirtan, you haven't seen, but then you will be learning in trigonometry very soon. Okay, this is part of your current math syllabus in trigonometry also. ASTC rule it is called, all sine, cos, tan. Second quadrant, अच्छा, you people are in PCB, so it doesn't matter. So those of you who are in PCB, you just write down this formula, okay, and understand its application over here. Okay, that is the more important thing. And very soon we will understand the logic of the formula also from vectors. So let us look at an example. So now next example is like this, that vector A has a magnitude of 10 units, vector B has a magnitude of double of that, 20 units, and the angle between them, theta, is 120 degrees. So we have to find the magnitude of A plus B, okay, by application of triangle law. And you have to also draw a vector triangle to represent A plus B operation, and the vector summing operation. So we have to do these two things here. Okay, so let's start with the formula. So the first thing in the question obviously is that we'll use the formula. By now we are all used to this formula, a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. So in this we will substitute magnitude of A as 10, magnitude of B as 20, but theta is now the important thing. Theta is 120 degrees. So we will use the formula for obtuse angle, which we just learned. And what is that formula? That formula is that cos theta is minus cos 180 degrees minus theta. We will use this formula. Okay, so here the application of this formula will become what? That cos 120, we had just done this calculation above also. So cos 120 degrees is minus of cos 180 degrees minus 120 degrees. So it is minus cos 60. So it is minus half. So this thing we will use. Okay. So we will substitute this here along with this, of course. Okay. So next step we will get magnitude of A plus B is root of 10 square plus 20 square plus 2ab into cos theta, which is now minus half. Okay, so you can see that this will become 100 plus 400 minus 200. So it will become square root of 300 or 10 root 3 units. This will become our answer here. So this is the first part. This is all we have to do to solve for the resultant by substituting all the values in the triangle law. But when we substitute theta as an obtuse angle in the triangle law, we have to just be mindful of this formula, and you have to just remember the application of this particular formula. So hope this is clear to all of you people. Make a note of this, and when you finish that, try drawing the vector triangle also yourself. Very good. So Kirtan, can you tell me from the vector triangle that what type of triangle is it? Is there anything special about it? What is the angle between the resultant and the vector A? Let's add one more part to this. Between the vector E plus B and the vector A. Okay. So if you just analyze a little bit about the triangle that you've got, you will understand the answer to this third part also very easily. If you've drawn the vector triangle, so see, second part, the vector triangle will now look like this. So E is of magnitude 10, let's say, but B is at an angle of 120. So notice something interesting, that if you just are mindful of this fact that this internal angle is 60, okay, and you know that cos 60 is half. So that is how you'll realize that the triangle is a right angle triangle. Okay, that's how you'll realize this fact, and that will help you understand the question fully also. Okay, of course, even without this fact, you can just draw the triangle. Okay, but your actual triangle will be more accurate if you have already understood that because ये दोनों sides का ratio 1:2 है, so this has to be a 90-degree triangle. So alpha has to be 90 degrees. Okay, and the sum of A plus B, or the resultant, has a magnitude of 10 root 3. The same reason why 20 square is equal to 10 square plus 10 root 3 ka square. So you can see that the magnitude of B, the magnitude of A, and this, they are making a Pythagorean triplet. Okay. So this is also showing you the same thing. Okay. So therefore the third part, you can directly see that alpha is equal to 90 degrees. Okay, which you can also see by formula method. If you go by the formula based method, क्या हो रहा है, tan alpha should be b sin theta upon a plus b cos theta. So when you substitute here, this is 20 sin 120 upon 10 plus 20 cos 120 degrees. Okay, so it actually doesn't matter that the numerator is this much, the denominator will actually become 0. So that means tan alpha is undefined. Division by 0 is an undefined operation in maths, or we can say that it's a illegal operation. Okay. So this immediately tells me that alpha is equal to 90 degrees, which is already something that we've understood from the geometry. ठीक है, so hope the second and the third part are also clear for all of you. So obviously this is because the values given in the question is like this, because the magnitude of A and B are 10 and 20 and the angle is 120. That's why it's happening. It will not always be the case like this. No? It depends on the particular values. Okay. So if you finish with this, let's do another question for practice. Next example. Now this one you try out completely yourself. Okay. So magnitude of A is in this given to us as, let us say, magnitude of A is given to us as 70. Okay. Magnitude of B is given to us as 50. Okay. And the angle between them, theta, is equal to, let's say, 127 degrees. Okay, so find magnitude of A plus B. Okay, and angle alpha between A plus B and the vector E. Okay. So just try this out. So same way we have applied the formula in the above case. Now same thing you have to do. So work this out and just drop me a message with the answers. Yeah, anybody got the answer yet? So first of all, you have to figure out what will be cos 127. No? So uske liye you have to use that formula. So for this angle, it will become minus of cos 180 minus 127 degrees. So that is minus cos 53 degrees. So that is minus 3 by 5. Correct. Giselle, that's correct. Okay. And similarly, sine 127, when you calculate, Okay, that will be positive of sine 53, so that will be plus 4 by 5. This also you will require for the other formula. Okay, yeah, something like that. Okay, so your magnitude of a plus b now, you will get this as root of a square plus b square plus 2ab into cos theta. Okay, so what you can do is you can take 10 common outside, so I have 7 square plus 5 square minus ये कितना हो जाएगा 30 into 7 or 10 into minus 210. Okay, so 10 root 49 plus 25 minus this one. Cos 53 is a value that we know. Okay, I've discussed in the last couple of lectures beta. Okay, cos 53 is a known value in trigonometry. Okay, remember that I had so you just go through the you have to go through the videos of the previous couple of lectures that we have had. Okay, Syed. Okay, it's something that we have discussed earlier. Okay, so anyway, how much is this coming to now? So that is coming out to be this thing 2 into 7 into 5 into 3 divided by 5. So okay, so 49 plus 25 minus 42, how much will that become? 49 minus 42 will give you 7 plus 25 32. This is 42. Okay, so 10 root 32, which we can write as 10 root 16 into 2, so 40 root 2, and approximately 40 into 1.4, but this is okay, we can leave the answer this way. So this is the answer to our first part, magnitude of a plus b. So this is the answer that I was looking for from all of you to solve and give me, but anyhow, so hope it is clear. Now similarly, you have to now apply the other formula to find the angle. So for the angle, we have this other formula, tan alpha formula. Yeah, it's correct. So second one, tan alpha is b sine theta, so divided by a plus b, so that is 70 plus b cos theta. Okay, so this will become 40 upon 70 minus 30, so that is 40 by 40 or 1. So tan alpha is 1, so that means alpha is how much? It is 45 degrees. So this is the answer to the second part. Okay, so basically when you try and visualize this triangle, so the problem is solved, but still just to understand it, you can try and visualize the triangle, and you will see that it looks like this. This is 70, then at an angle of 127 degrees to it, you have something like this. Okay, so this is the vector A, its magnitude is 70. This is the vector B, इसका magnitude 50 है, बट ये जो एंगल है वो थीटा कितना है? 127 डिग्रीज है. ठीक है, सो this is what it's telling us, that this A plus B is having a magnitude of 40 root 2 and this angle is 45 degrees. So this is the interpretation of it. You can say this is the geometrical interpretation, but that's only to visualize. The important thing is how you will apply the formula itself to come to the magnitude, come to the values. Calculation of the values will obviously have to be done by the formula application. Okay people, any doubts with this? Hope it is clear how we have applied all the required formula in this. Okay, so the important thing here was again the application of this formula of trigonometric ratios cos and sine for obtuse angles. These ones that I have written over here, this formula here and this one, they were both equally important because it's applied here also in the tan alpha formula, also it's applied in the magnitude of A plus B formula also. Okay, now next thing, once all this is clear to us, now moving on to the next operation in vector algebra, okay, which is the difference of two vectors or subtraction of two vectors. Okay, so how to do this operation? Let's learn this now. Okay, so given two vectors A and B, okay, such that their magnitudes are these, okay, and the angle between them is theta. Now we want to find out this, okay, both in terms of magnitude and in terms of direction. So let us understand how we will do this operation next. Okay. So what we do is we interpret A minus B as the sum of A plus negative of the vector B, okay, where minus B is a vector opposite to the vector B and of same magnitude. Okay, so its direction is opposite and its magnitude is the same. Okay, so in other words, suppose my vector A is like this and my vector B is like this, then the vector minus of B will simply become a vector which is like this. It's equal in magnitude but opposite in direction to the vector B. You can see that the magnitude of the vector B is the same as the magnitude of the vector minus B. Okay, but their directions are opposite. Okay, so next what we have to do now here is we have to, okay, so for the operation A minus B, okay, add the vectors A and minus B. That is, in other words, the operation A minus B is actually the sum of the vector A with the vector minus B. Okay, so next step we will see when we come to that. That is very easy. Now all we have to do is add the vector A, but not with the vector B, but with the other vector which we have constructed, which is minus B. Okay, so just make a note up to this, then we will discuss further. Okay, so hope you have understood up to this step, all of you. Okay, so let's next see how we can do this operation of adding up the two vectors A and minus B. Okay, so let us say the angle between A and B was theta. So when we are adding the first one with the last one, which is minus B, how will the operation look like? It will look like this. So we've taken the vector A from there, but then to the vector A we are adding the vector minus B. Instead of adding the vector B, we will be adding the vector minus B. So that one will look like this. And we'll understand that the angle between the vector A and minus B, that angle will become how much? It will become this 180 degrees minus theta, because this angle was theta. So this angle will be 180 minus theta. So now in this diagram, what is the sum of these two vectors, A and minus B? The sum of these two vectors is the third side of the triangle. This is our A minus B. So our vector operation of A minus B for its magnitude, we have to do this. Okay. But in this, keep in mind that the magnitude of the vector B minus B is also B only. Okay, but the angle between these two is 1 minus B. So these are vectors of magnitude capital A and capital B, and angle 180 minus theta between them. The angle between them is not theta, the angle between them is 180 minus theta. Okay. So you just apply your normal triangle law formula, but this time you replace the angle theta with 180 minus theta. So it's square root of this vector's magnitude squared plus this vector's magnitude square plus 2 times product of the magnitudes, but into the angle, cosine of the angle between them, which is this. Okay. And here now you use the formula that we just discussed, that cos 180 minus theta is equal to minus cos theta. So making use of that formula now, you can see that we get this relation. Minus 2AB cos theta. Okay. So this becomes the formula for the difference of two vectors. Okay, so just lecture it, huh? Using the form later. Okay, so hope you've understood this formula application here. Okay. Next is also to find the angle. Yeah, sorry people, unfortunately I had got disconnected. Anyway, now coming back to that derivation. So you understood the magnitude of A minus B as root of A square plus B square minus 2AB cos theta. Now also we want to find this angle here. In the diagram, see this angle beta. Okay. So the angle beta between A minus B and A. So that is given by, it is such that, again we'll use the same formula. So tan beta will become B sine theta upon, but instead of minus plus it will become minus. Okay. Because once again we are using the fact that the angle between the two vectors is this, and cos of 180 minus theta will be replaced with minus cos theta, whereas sine of 180 minus theta in the numerator will be replaced with plus sine theta. So it's coming from the previous formula of triangle law, but just replacing theta with 180 minus theta. So your numerator, which was b sine, remains positive of b sine theta, but the numerator, which was a plus b cos 180 minus theta, it becomes a minus b cos theta, because cos of 180 minus theta is minus cos theta. So these are the two formulae which are required for the magnitude and the direction of the difference of two vectors. And this is how we construct the vector triangle. By taking the vector A and then on it draw the vector minus B instead of drawing the vector B. Okay. So next up, let's understand with a practice question. So for example, I have the situation magnitude of A is 20, magnitude of B is also 20, and the angle theta between them is 60 degrees. So we want to find the magnitude of A minus B, okay, and the angle made by the vector A minus B with respect to the vector E. That angle is, let's say, beta or whatever. So what we'll do is we'll just use the formula over here. Mod of A minus B is root of a square plus b square minus 2ab cos theta, and tan beta is b sin theta upon a minus b cos theta. So when we substitute this, half हो जाएगा, because you know that cos 60 is 1 by 2. So this will be 20 when you work this out. Okay, and this will become beta will be 60. To understand why this is happening, because in this case you can see the vectors we are talking about, a and b, the two vectors we are talking about, a and b, they are like this. Suppose a is like this, then b is a vector like this, which are of magnitude 20 each, and this angle between them is 60. So when we construct the triangle to get their vector difference, that particular triangle will look like this. We will draw the vector a first, but to that we will not add b, we will add the vector minus of b. So minus of b will be a vector now, which is like this, equal in magnitude but opposite in direction to the vector b. Minus b ऐसे vector हो जाएगा. This will be the vector minus b. It will also have a magnitude of 20, like b has a magnitude of 20. But what will happen is that this angle was 60. So now the angle that minus b is making, this angle will become 120. So the moment you now understand that, the rest becomes very easy to understand from the diagram, because this is the vector we are looking for, the difference of the two, a minus b, and this is the angle we are looking for, beta. But now you can see that in this triangle what is happening, this angle is 60 and this side is equal to this side, so it's becoming an equilateral triangle. So because it's an equilateral triangle, it makes sense that magnitude of a minus b will be equal to magnitude of a equal to magnitude of b, equal to 20 units. This is what we got by the formula method. Okay. And the angle beta will be 60 degrees, which again we have got by the formula method. Okay, so this is the application of the difference of two vectors. Okay, this is also another form of triangle law. Okay, this is like a second part of triangle law. This is called the triangle law for difference. The first one we had seen, it's called the triangle law for sum. Okay, so just make a note of this and go through the steps. Drop me a message if there's any doubt with any of the steps. I'll explain it. Okay, so hope this example is clear to all of you. Now next up, we will look at theorem wherein we combine the two triangles for the sum and difference into one theorem. So that is called the parallelogram theorem or parallelogram law. For vector sum and difference. So the simple individual triangle law formulae and statements that we had got for the sum and the difference, we can combine them into one, and that is called the parallelogram law. Okay. So in this, what happens is that given two vectors A and B like this, okay, if we construct a parallelogram such that the such that the two sides A and B are consecutive sides of the parallelogram, then we will see that the diagonals of the parallelogram represent individually the sum and difference. If a parallelogram is constructed using the given vectors A and B as adjacent sides, okay, that is sides with a common origin or drawn from a common vertex, then the diagonals of this parallelogram will be the resultant sum vector and the difference vector. So let's see how that happens. Okay. So let's do the construction such that we are drawing the vectors A and B, this time not head to tail, but such that they are having a common vertex or they are drawn from a common origin. So just taken the two vectors A and B, and this time we've drawn it from a common point, which is becoming one of the vertices of the parallelogram. So these are the two adjacent sides of the parallelogram, okay, angle theta between them. So now in order to complete the parallelogram, complete the figure, we'll have to draw two more sides, one parallel to A drawn from B, the other parallel to B drawn from A, and wherever they intersect, that becomes the other vertex point. So this becomes the figure of our parallelogram. Okay. Now this parallelogram has the interesting property that one of the two diagonals will automatically become the sum of the two vectors, and the other one will automatically become the difference. So this diagonal, the one which is drawn from the common origin of the two vectors A and B to the opposite side, that actually becomes the sum. And that sum, this particular angle becomes alpha. Whereas we draw another diagonal which is from one vector's head to the other vector's head. So for example, if we draw from B's head to A's head, then that vector will now represent the difference of the two. It will be A minus B. And this angle here will be beta. So what will happen here is that what is called the primary diagonal, that is from common origin to the opposite vertex, okay, becomes the sum of the two vectors A plus B. Whereas the so-called secondary diagonal, So in this case I've drawn it from the head of the vector B to the head of the vector E. This secondary diagonal becomes A minus B. Okay, and of course they are given by the same formula that magnitude root of A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta, and magnitude of A minus B is given by root of A square plus B square minus 2AB cos theta, and tan alpha is given by B sin theta upon E plus B cos theta, whereas tan beta on this side is given by B sin theta upon E minus B cos theta. So we will understand very soon that triangle law is actually, it is just the two triangle laws have been combined. In fact, next step I will show you that the parallelogram actually contains the two triangles that we've learned before, the sum triangle and the difference triangle. But there's a certain advantage in the parallelogram law, and that is that we are able to analyze both the things, A plus B and A minus B, within one figure. We are not having to draw two separate figures, and that is why it is something of importance. It's like a combined form of the two triangle laws that we've learned just before this. So just make a note of this part up to here, okay, and then we'll discuss more about it and its applications. Okay, so hope you understood how we do the construction of the parallelogram. So the two vectors that we are using to construct it, A and B, they are first drawn from a common origin point, and then using them as adjacent sides, the parallelogram is completed. Then the primary diagonal, the one that you get from that common origin to the opposite side, that becomes the sum, and the secondary diagonal, which is the other one, becomes the difference. Okay, so one important thing that we learn from this is that this parallelogram is actually a form of combining the two triangle laws. It's actually a combined form or a combination of the triangle laws for sum and difference. Okay, let's understand how that is happening. So if you compare this above diagram, this one, with the individual triangle laws, you will understand why that's happening. Okay. So if you were to just compare this diagram alone with the triangle that you would construct for the sum of the two vectors. So for the sum you would construct the vectors in this manner. This angle is theta. Okay. And then our sum would become this third side of the triangle. And the angle that the sum makes would become this angle here. Now if you see, this triangle is already contained within this parallelogram. If you just for a moment just concentrate on the primary diagonal, forget about the secondary diagonal. Okay. So you can see that in this you already have this one. This triangle is nothing but this triangle. Okay, so it's the same triangle. Okay, and similarly, if you construct the difference wala triangle, the one that we learnt just a few minutes back today, you will see that triangle is also contained within the parallelogram. Okay, so if you were to draw the vector A like this, and then instead of adding B, you would add the vector minus B. So minus B would be a vector like this. So this would be the vector minus B. Okay. And this angle between them would be 180 degrees minus theta. And the resultant of these two things, that is the vector A and the vector minus B, would give us this vector here. This would be A minus B, and this angle would be beta. Now again, if you just concentrate in this diagram on the secondary diagonal this time, forget about the primary diagonal, you will see that this triangle is already contained in this. Okay, so that's why I said that there's nothing new in the parallelogram law. It's the same information of the two triangle laws, but the advantage is that both the triangles are combined into one diagram. So for certain types of problems, it gives us a very easy way of analyzing the problem, and that is the importance of parallelogram law. Otherwise there was no need to study it separately, because it's the same thing as the two triangle laws, but in a sort of combined form. Okay, so hope this point is clear to all of you. Understood this so far? Okay. So just make a note of this comparison. Okay, so in this one, for example, you can see that you extend this angle is your theta, same as this. Because in this one, if you extend this angle is 180 minus theta. This side has the same magnitude as this side. This side has the same magnitude as this side, and same here. This is A and this is B. So they are the same triangles. Okay. So that is what we mean by saying that when we compare the parallelograms diagram or the figure with the two individual triangle laws, we realize that it is nothing but a combination of the individual triangle laws. There's no real new information in it, and that's why obviously the formulae are also the same. It's just that there's a different way of constructing it. Okay, so just make a note of this, and this is quite important. Okay, you'll realize in some time why this is important, because certain types of problems will become very easy to solve by using this. Okay, so for certain types of problem analysis, it's very important to understand the parallelogram construction. Okay, so hope you have understood this. So let's do a quick example of this construction of the parallelogram, and then we'll get back to more analysis on it. So let us say P is a displacement of 50 meters at 30 degrees north of east. Okay, and Q is a displacement of 100 meters towards north. Okay, so construct vector arrows to represent P and Q. Okay, and use them to draw a parallelogram such that P plus Q and P minus Q are its diagonals. Okay. Find magnitude of P plus Q and magnitude of P minus Q. So this is just a simple sort of direct application of the parallelogram law that we've just learned before. Okay, should be pretty easy. Just try to work it out. Go with the step-by-step method that you have just written down, or I've just taught you, to construct the parallelogram, and then use the formula to find out mod P plus Q and mod P minus Q. Remember, to find out the magnitudes, you will have to apply the formula. The diagram is not going to help you for that. Okay, so let's try and understand the application of this. Okay. So first of all, if I were to construct a general set of directions, okay, so let me denote the xy system or my system of axes in terms of the geographical directions. So suppose my x-axis as usual is west to east and y-axis as usual is south to north. Okay. Then in this system, how would my vector arrows look like? Okay, so next thing I want to do is I want to construct vector arrows to represent P and Q. So P मेरा कैसा दिखेगा in this? P will look like a vector which is pointing 30 degrees north of east. So from east it is going towards north. So it should be like this. P should become, let's say, a vector like this, which is a displacement of 50 meters magnitude, but such that this angle with respect to the east is making an angle of 30 degrees, but towards which direction? Towards the north direction. So this is what my vector P should look like. Okay, like this. And similarly, now how should the vector Q look like? Now that's very easy. The vector Q should just look like a vector towards north. So 100 meters magnitude. So directly pointing towards north. So these are the individual vectors P and Q. So I've done this part now. Now next thing I want to understand is how will their parallelogram look like? How will we use them to construct a parallelogram such that, okay. So to construct the parallelogram, okay, we have to draw the vectors P and Q starting from the same origin. Okay. And adjacent sides of the parallelogram. So you have to construct it in that manner. Okay. So next step, when we do that, our diagram will become like this. The vector P was like this, 50 meters at the 30 degree kind of angle, and the vector Q is 100 meters, let's say like this. So this is how my, from the common origin point, vector P, which is 50 meters, and vector Q, which is 100 meters, okay, and this is pointing towards east, this is pointing towards north. So the angle between them, this angle is 30. So what about the angle between the two vectors? That will become 60, because ultimately, remember, I need to use that formula, na? So for that I need theta. So theta kitna ho jayega? 60 hoga. This is the angle between the two vectors. Okay. Now in order to complete the parallelogram, I will have to draw one side from here which is parallel to P. And another side from here which is parallel to Q. Okay. And this now completes my vector parallelogram. So in this parallelogram, which is going to be the sum, the primary diagonal from the common origin to the opposite side, that is going to be the sum. So always remember, the sum is the vector which you get as the diagonal from the common origin point from where the two vectors were first made to the opposite side. So this vector is becoming the sum. So this is P plus Q. Okay. So P plus Q will be the primary diagonal. Okay. From origin to opposite vertex. Whereas when we want to construct P minus Q, it should be the secondary diagonal which in this diagram, so I'm doing P minus Q, it should be the vector going from Q's head to P's head. So this one will become P minus Q. Okay, so P minus Q will be the secondary diagonal from the head of Q to the head of the vector P. That's how I'll construct it. Okay. So this geometrical construction part is like this now. Okay. And then of course to find the individual magnitudes of P and P plus Q and P minus Q, next thing what I have to do, I have to use the formulae. Okay. So for this next part, we have to use formulae. In the formula we have to substitute magnitude of P as 50, magnitude of Q as 100, and theta as 60 degrees. Like you can see in the diagram, y theta is 60 degrees. So hope this is clear to all of you and understanding this part. Okay. The rest is just formula. Okay. So So 50 root 7 will become the magnitude of P plus Q. Okay. And similarly you calculate the magnitude of P minus Q and you will see it will come out to be when you substitute all this, this will come out to be 50 into square root of 3. Okay, so those are the individual magnitudes. Okay, so hope all of you understood the application of the formula also in the final step and the calculation. So this is what you have to learn to do yourself when you are solving the questions. Okay, whether you are constructing a geometrical shape using one of the theorems, or you are finding out the calculated value using one of the formulae, you have to practice this out with the questions which are new assignments. Okay, I will do a full discussion of assignment 2 also fully, don't worry. But before that, there are some more aspects that I want to discuss about vectors. Okay. So next case we will discuss inequalities using parallelogram law. Okay. So for this we will compare the situation of three parallelograms. Okay. One having the angle between the two vectors as 90 degrees. Okay. One having the angle between the two vectors as an acute angle. Okay. And the third one having the angle between the vectors as an obtuse angle. Okay. So let's say, so this is the case where theta is 90 degrees. This is the case where theta is less than 90 degrees, or okay. And this is the case where theta is greater than 90, less than equal to 180 degrees, let's say. Okay. So obtuse, will include 180 in the obtuse analysis only. No need to take it as a separate thing. Okay. Now let's also complete the construction of the parallelogram in each case. So in this case you can see your parallelogram is a rectangle. Okay. In this case you can see it's a parallelogram of this kind of shape, and in this case you can see it's a parallelogram of this kind of shape. Okay. Now if I start comparing the diagonals for the three different parallelograms, then immediately I'll start to understand the relationship between mod a plus b and a and b in each of these cases. If I start comparing the magnitude of a plus b here with the magnitude of a plus b here, and the magnitude of a plus b here, okay, you immediately realize that in this case, whenever theta is 90 degrees, magnitude of a plus b is root of a square plus b square. So this is a right angle triangle, it's 90 degrees. But in this case, whenever theta is less than 90, you can see that mod of a plus b becomes greater than root of a square plus b square. You can understand that from the formula also, because cos theta will be a positive quantity in the case of this, whereas in this case cos theta will be 0, and on the other hand in this case cos theta will be a negative quantity. So whether you look at the diagram and understand geometrically, or you look at the formula and you substitute in the formula assuming cos theta is some negative quantity, you will see that this will be less than root of a square plus b square. Okay, so the three different cases, when theta is obtuse, the magnitude of a plus b is less than root of a square plus b square. When theta is acute, it is more than root of a square plus b square. and in the case where it's 90 exactly, it's exactly equal to root of a square plus b square. Okay. Similarly, if you now start analyzing the difference of the two vectors, or in the case of the geometrical shape, you are now analyzing the secondary diagonal. So in this case, you will see you have that interesting result that it's equal to the primary diagonal. Both are root of a square plus b square. But in the case of obtuse angle, you can see it becomes longer in length. And in the case of acute angle, you can see it becomes lesser in length. So in this case, your mod a minus b is less than root of a square plus b square. In this case, your mod a minus b is the same thing as mod a plus b, which is root of a square plus b square. But in this case, you can see that your a minus b is the diagonal which is of longer length. So its magnitude is becoming is becoming greater than root of a square plus b square. So additionally, you now have the property that whenever two vectors are perpendicular to each other, the magnitude of the sum, sorry, my mistake here, this should be a minus b. No. I mean, it's the same, but a minus b also has a magnitude. Okay. So the sum of the diagonals, I mean the sum of the vectors and the difference of the vectors have the same magnitude, which is root of a square plus b square. Whereas whenever the angle is acute, the result is that the sum of the vectors has a magnitude which is greater than the difference of the vectors. This is the case of acute angle. This is the case of perpendicular vectors. And on the other hand, in this case, a plus b has a magnitude which is less than a minus b. This is the obtuse angle case. Okay, so instead of memorizing them or understanding them in a formula based method, the parallelogram law gives you a very easy way to visualize and understand why this is happening. So then you don't have to rote learn it. You can just understand the logic of this. So for example, if you have a question like this, that magnitude of A is 12, magnitude of B is 16, and theta is greater than 90 degrees, the angle between them. Okay. Then which of these is true? Okay, so okay, so one of these four options is correct. Just select and tell me which one is correct. This is a multiple choice question with one option correct. So just write down this theorem first and then analyze this question and tell me which one is correct. Yes, Kirtan, that's correct. Very good. So you can see that in this case, what is happening, because theta is greater than 90, you can immediately see that is that case, that cos theta will be a negative quantity. So therefore, mod of a minus b will be greater than root of a square plus b square, or in this case, root of 16 square plus 12 square, or 20. So mod of a minus b will be greater than 20, whereas mod of a plus b will be less than root of a square plus b square. Okay, so mod of a plus b will be less than 20. Okay, so that also means that mod of a minus b will be greater than mod of a plus b, and not the other way around. Okay, so this statement is wrong, this statement is wrong, this is the correct one, and this is again wrong. So something like this becomes very easy to analyze if you just visualize and remember these inequalities on basis of the geometry of the parallelogram. Okay. Then for example, another question like this, that magnitude of a plus b is equal to magnitude of a minus b is equal to 20, and magnitude of a plus b is to magnitude of a is equal to, let us say, root 3 is to 1. Oh sir, not root 3 is to 1. Let's make it 2 is to root 3. Okay, so find theta, the angle between A and B, and secondly, the ratio of mod A is to mod B. Okay, so quickly work out this question also now. Right, so people, hope you have understood the answer to this question. Yes, very good. So first of all, you will understand that if you are able to just visualize your parallelogram, then it's very simple. You don't have to apply any formula also. So for the first part, you have to just think like this, that okay, mod of a plus b is equal to mod of a minus b. So that means the parallelogram of a and b has equal diagonals. Okay, so immediately that tells you that it must be a rectangle. There's no other case possible. So that means theta must be 90 degrees. Okay, you don't need to apply any formula and all that. Okay, and then once you got that, now you can see that is equal to root of a square plus b square. Okay, so you can see that the root of a square plus b square upon a will be magnitude of a plus b upon magnitude of a, okay, which is 2 by root 3. So a square plus b square upon a square, that is squaring both the sides of this, is nothing but 4 by 3. Okay, so 3a square plus 3b square is equal to 4a square. That means a square is equal to 3b square. That means a is equal to root 3 times b. We won't take plus minus because a is a positive quantity here. Okay, so that means magnitude of a is to magnitude of b is root 3 is to 1. That's it. Okay. So questions like this which are a little bit analytical, okay, any question basically where you are having to compare sum and difference, it's usually easier to approach by using the the parallelogram law. Okay, so you can just note that as a guideline. Any comparison of the sum of the two vectors and the difference of the two vectors, okay, is easy to visualize using the parallelogram theorem. Okay, and that's what we've done over here. Okay people, so with that we come an end to today's lecture. So hope you understood this. Now next lecture we will be discussing in detail the questions of the assignment number 2, and I'll also be sending a third assignment which you can also start attempting on the basis of this. But first of all, make sure you revise today's content very carefully. We have seen two very important things: the difference of two vectors, or the second part of triangle law, and of course the parallelogram law, and both of these are very important to your understanding and progress in vectors. So make sure you go through the notes, see the derivation of the theorems, and send me any doubts if you have difficulty with that part, and then come to the assignment questions of both assignment 2 and assignment 3 I'll be sending. And likewise, if you have any doubts, you can keep sending me on WhatsApp also. Otherwise, we'll discuss in the next lecture. Okay, so that's it for today's class people. Thanks for attending and wish you all the best.